Storybook Brawl was nice enough to send me some dust codes, so I'm doing another giveaway. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can enter to win. What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and today we are going to be asking the question, is Snow Angel too good? To be getting all of these good units for free, is that too powerful? And honestly, it might be, especially for this reason right here. On turn 2, if you're able to pick up your second good unit, you get to play 3 units on turn 2, which makes you extremely powerful, and you get to use this power scale out into the mid game as you get units that are over leveled, and then in the late game, you'll get some free tier 6 units, and it just continues to be a strong hero power through all stages of the game, where maybe a lot of players are saying this version of Snow Angel is pushed a little bit too far and are asking for it to be removed before the tournament coming up this weekend. So we'll see if that happens or not, but for right now, Snow Angel is definitely really powerful. Unfortunately, on turn 3, we don't get to pick up any good units. Imagine, though, if we were just able to pick up 2 good units here and then also have another tier 3 good unit pop onto our board totally for free. We would have been playing 6 units this turn. That is tough to beat. That is really, really strong. However, Mad Mim plus a Baby Root, or a Happy Little Tree rather, is also quite strong this turn and actually gives us like a little bit more respectable units. Good units are a little bit on the weaker side, so that is like the one balancing aspect of it, and they're not strong enough. We actually do get a loss here, but I think we'll be able to pick up some wins in short order. Now, one of the interesting things about this Snow Angel, you've seen me do it already, there is a lot of times where you want to be buying and selling your units as much as possible. And even here, like, there is a potential reason to just sell 2 of my units and then pick up this Frog Prince that's in the shop here. And the main reason that you're doing that is every time you buy and sell a 2-cost unit, that only costs you 1 gold. And that's 1 gold for 1 tick of Snow Angel's ability, and it basically means that you are paying a total of 6 gold eventually to find tier 6 units, or you're paying 5 gold to find a 5-cost unit, which is a pretty reasonable price when you put it that way, and ultimately means it will be pretty powerful. Now, we have looked at some games with Snow Angel on the beta and in Storybook Brawl 99 where I've been able to do some really powerful things. I think some additional gold on this hero can go a long way. One of the interesting things with this hero is I've never found myself purchasing XP with Snow Angel, and I'm not totally sure if that's correct. I'm not sure if anybody fully has down yet how to play Snow Angel 100% correct, because there are some interesting things in terms of like what comps you find yourself in the end game that can definitely make some interesting decisions still to be had. So there is some interesting stuff that we are going to be taking a look at in this game, though it is mostly just going to be being super powerful. We don't win this fight actually with the spinning gold. I'm not doing a great job of showing off the power of Snow Angel, but we will get to pick up 2 units here. I'm just going to buy and sell the Baby Root to start things off. That is going to give us a tier 4 unit, and honestly not a super exciting one. I don't really love Soltak Ancient, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and sell that, so that way we can pick up some of these other things that are in this shop. I do like the Peep alongside the Mad Mim, and then I also don't really hate the Stag. If we wanted to, we could sell off both Happy Little Trees and pick up the Stag. I just decided to roll. Not really. I don't know if that was like a great decision either. Definitely learning and figuring out what works and what doesn't on this hero for sure to some extent. And mainly right now, just trying to get the treasure with Brave Princess, and then I'm going to focus on buying and selling as many other things as possible so that we can find a tier 6 good unit ASAP. And that'll provide us with a little bit more direction as well. If we can find a good boy, if we can find a Hercules and grab a treasure off of that, there's a lot of strong things that we can do. We are going to get the treasure from Brave Princess this turn, and we're also going to be able to pick up 2 more units. Now, there is an interesting thing. If you are planning on just cycling your tier 2 units, you actually don't really want to triple them, other than the fact that you could potentially get some sweet treasures from them. So I will start to take a look for these treasures, but I think I'm ultimately just going to skip on this one. Probably didn't really need to spend as much gold. Like, it's more gold efficient to just be selling off your happy little trees. And then, because once you triple them, you can only sell it once. So you do lose a little bit of gold there. Just something kind of interesting to consider. But we are going to have enough gold here that we are going to be able to find our tier 5 unit this turn. And that gives us a Robin Wood, which is probably one of the better tier 5 units that you can pick up. Robin Wood is just so much stats, and on a ranged unit, you get to shrink one of your opponent's units, you get to make one of your characters even bigger, so ultimately that winds up being super, super strong here. My opponent does have a really large Juliet, so we are still going to be losing some combats here, and maybe I'm not doing the best job of selling this Snow Angel, but we'll see how much more powerful we can make it by the end of this one here. And I would definitely like to have found a Juliet at some point. There is certainly some interesting stuff always going on with Snow Angel. You'll see that I am just cycling the Lonely Princes at this point, not trying to triple up on them. And then I pick up this Kidnap to potentially steal some stuff. I do think that we might wind up going trees. We have this large happy little tree that we've connected on, and then we've got 2 Heartwood Elders. So all of this could combine to make something nice. I don't typically really love trying to go the King Arthur route. I think it was fine previously, when Court Wizard on the beta was a royal, but as far as the real patch goes, I don't really love royals. I think that that really undercuts a lot of the strength that Snow Angel can do. I don't mind playing the Arthur for right now, but eventually I do want to try to replace it. Though, I will pick up a Romeo and a Juliet. That is just a nice combination of characters that will give us a little bit more power on the immediate right now, and will also give us our tier 6 unit. And Bearstain is the one that I'm always unhappy to see, because it's the trickiest one to make work with just a bunch of other good units. It does work with Baby Bear, it does work with Hippocampus, but overall, it's just generally not my build path when I'm playing Snow Angel, though if you get an early enough Bearstain, you could certainly pivot into it. Then I'm going to wind up selling off Peep to pick up a Humpty Dumpty here, and we've also got the Forking Rod to go along with the Merlin's Hat. So picked up the Merlin's Hat so that we could potentially buy some XP on the cheap. Once I have the Merlin's Hat, it definitely makes sense to pick up the Forking Rod, but not planning on playing spells or anything like that on this one. So we'll see how this one goes. We are making the happy little tree nice and big here, and we'll also have a pretty large Juliet off the Romeo. I would like to potentially triple the Juliet, but I'm also just going to spend all of my gold buying and selling 2-cost units. It makes this character have a very weird feel, or this hero rather, because you were just kind of, somebody described it as playing like a hat ball-esque minigame, but in the shop, and I do think that's a pretty good way to describe it. Is it strong? Not super sure. Wind up moving a few things around here before picking up this Nutcracker, which is going to give us a Green Knight, which is actually really, really good for us here. I definitely want to pick that up right now, and we can use that to support the Nutcracker. And from there, I can either just put in the Frog Prince, or we could put in Romeo and Juliet and cut the Robin Wood. I don't think that that is the craziest play either, though. Playing all of my ranged units, I think overall will just be pretty good, because the Robin Wood is going to pump itself here after the other Robin Wood pumps up the Nutcracker. So that's going to give us some large Robin Woods, and ultimately just a pretty large board here. We'll get 2 hits off on the Nutcracker. We need 2 more over the next few turns, but I think we're feeling pretty good. And then we get to pick up a tier 5 treasure that is also pretty sweet. And Evil Eye, not something that you really think about with good units, but it's just so clearly so great with our current board. So I do wind up picking up that as well. And then here I do throw in the Romeo and Juliet. That seems like it could be fun. There's definitely some options here on the spells with the Genie's Wish or the Fool's Gold now that we are a little bit stronger, but I'm going to wind up casting this Merlin's Test after I buy and sell some more units in the shop. We'll buy and sell the Happy Little Tree and the Lonely Prince. And then, yeah, I'm even going to sell off one more of these units just to cast the Merlin's Test, because it's +8/+8 to cast that here. And I'm going to frontline the Romeo as well so that the Robin Wood is backlined. And then we just put Romeo back here. Oh, and I go for this on the Robin Wood. I guess it's fine. We're probably keeping the Robin Wood longer than we're keeping any of these other units. So yeah, totally fair. And we'll get one more hit on the Nutcracker from my opponent's Falling Stars, and then one more hit from the Nutcracker in combat. I guess it was big enough anyways that it didn't need some additional stats, and then Juliet can clean it up. But this is going to give us a tier 4 treasure. And at this point, we do have to decide if we want to get rid of either of our spell-related treasures. I'm not going to get rid of the Evil Eye at this point, but I do think Gloves of Thieving can be really good, especially when the plan is to either go into a Good Boy comp or a Trees comp. And the reason that I bring up those in particular is Good Boy is typically the first unit to die on a given board if your opponent is playing a Good Boy board, so it's easy to pick those up with Gloves of Thieving. And then Trees are just good because a bunch of people will wind up playing Trees in the lobby if possible, so you'll have a better odds of stealing some Trees. And it does look like we are kind of on the Trees route. We're going to pick up a Hercules here for free, which is definitely one of the best units that you can pick up on Snow Angel. It was our 3rd tier 6 unit, but the fact that we've been able to pick up 3 tier 6 units at this point in the game is kind of crazy. So that's pretty nice. We're going to wind up getting 3 hits on Hercules because it is so large from the Green Knight with the Evil Eye, and that's going to be enough to allow us to win this combat. This opponent could be a little bit tricky to deal with. They've got the Radiant Prism, so we do want to definitely pay them some respects, but now we are level 6. So at this point, we haven't found any Good Boys off of our hero power, which is certainly a little bit awkward. Like I said, I'm not complaining. We found the Hercules, we're doing good, but it does make me want to consider some different options. And when I see this Burning Tree, I mean, I was already kind of thinking that I wanted to play Trees at this point just because an Ashwood Elm works so well on this board. I do think we're going to wind up pivoting a little bit into Trees, which is tricky because the trees that we want to purchase at this point in the game aren't Robin Wood, aren't any of the trees that we found so far. They're all evil units. And I think this is fine, but we will be giving up on our hero power a little bit as we move on to the later stages of the game. Hopefully Hercules can activate here. It's going to be a little bit close, but we shall see. And I guess it still needs 3 hits, eh? So Hercules not quite going to activate this combat, but we'll get a pretty easy win against the Ghost here. Not too big of a deal. And now we're just looking for some more trees at this point. Now that we've got a Burning Tree, and Ashwood is a really great pickup, though. It was still a great pickup before because we had only trees. And yeah, we just haven't really found the Good Boys. We haven't really wanted to make the Summons comp work either. So I'm basically just going to ignore my hero power at this point in the game. And I think that's a totally fine thing to do when you're playing Snow Angel. It got us this far. We don't have to use it to continue to get any farther. I'm just gonna full roll down looking for an Ashwood Elm and failing to find one there. And then I also sell off a unit because I know I'm gonna get a replacement unit off the Gloves of Thieving from my opponent. A little bit tricky whether or not we want to support the Hercules this turn. We can either put it in the first position so it's more likely to attack, or we can put it in the second position so it's got a bonus 20 health and is more likely to survive. I can see going either way with it, but I wind up putting it in the second position here, and it doesn't matter because my opponent doesn't have any ranged units, but they do have a bunch of dwarves, so this is looking a little bit scary here. Double Lordy, they are definitely a little bit strong, and we take 13 down to 1, so that healing potion that I cast a little bit ago just saved us there. But now we get our tier 6 treasure, so we get to pick up Ivory Owl. I will toss the Merlin's Hat, and we find an Ashwood Elm. So that is a huge power spike here. I'm going to be able to pick up the Ashwood Elm. We can cut the Hercules and now run a board full of trees, and we are looking quite strong here now because this is going to continue to scale each turn, and then Ashwood Elm is also just going to give everything like plus 39 attack as well. So all of this is really good for us. Oh, I'm sorry, more than that, because it's also getting the +2/+2 from the owl. So yeah, all of this is really good, and thinking here, we can sell 5 things, pick up another Green Knight this turn. We might need that, especially because we are only at 1 health, so if we lose, we are out. But I'm going to pick up another Green Knight and use that to just make us a little bit stronger, and it might be the deciding factor in this game. I'm not sure, haven't like done the math to find out if I would have lost this without this, but my opponent had some pretty large units in the front line there. Their back line's easy enough to clean up, but could have been scary if we didn't have those bonus stats from the Ashwood Elm. So we will wind up throwing even some more additional stats on Ashwood Elm. I don't really care about the scaling that much as we're in like the last turns of the game here. So I'm really just looking for a Green Knight. I'm thinking maybe I could potentially pick up a Green Knight with the Snow Angel hero power. Maybe not worth it. And then locking onto this shop, which has 2 interesting things going for it. Unfortunately, I can't buy anything else this turn. I could sell my 2 units to pick up Juliet, but that wouldn't even get me it just gets me 1 tick on the Snow Angel, so not a huge deal. But I think I might like this Knighthood here too. I think that that's going to be good gold efficiency for next turn, if there is a next turn. It's a big ask nonetheless, but my opponent was playing Dwarves. So I feel like with Dwarves, there's a decent chance you can actually get ties against them. So we'll see what winds up happening here. And looks like it's going to be a pretty close battle after my opponent pigomorphs me, and we actually do get a tie. So I'm glad that I took this seriously and locked onto this Knighthood. And I think, especially seeing how close that combat was, Knighthood on the Ashwood Elm should be enough to get us there. That's going to give another, like, plus, so this was giving plus 68 attack to everything, and when we Knighthood, that's gonna mean that it's more than double, because it's also gonna get plus 15 health. So I'm trying to think of what that math is. 81, 83, it's gonna give 166 attack to everything, which definitely is going to allow for easy combats here against this Dwarves player, and I think that is going to quite easily allow us to finish things off. I noticed that I didn't have the tracker up when I didn't know the percentage that we won or lost the previous combat, but this should definitely put us over the edge here. All of our dwarves, or all of our trees rather, get to be absolutely massive. Echo Wood or Ashwood Elm even surviving that combat there and then taking them out pretty easily and crushing my opponent there for an easy win with Snow Angel. But definitely an interesting end game to look at there. Well, the tracker was wrong when I loaded it up anyways. I think this was early on into the new patch when the tracker isn't always updated exactly, or the simulator isn't even always updated. But yeah, there you go. There is a game with Snow Angel. Think it can be really strong, mainly just because you get those free units early. Like, there's no weakness to the hero power. It's not maybe the most busted thing in the end game because you still get some random units that you can't always have something to do with, but you can build around them a little bit, as you could see in this case where I took those Green Knights. I only got 1 Green Knight for free, but I used that and then also used the treasure from the Hercules to put together a really powerful endgame board and just kind of ignored the hero power. But definitely the early and mid-game strength is not to be messed with. Here's the details for my giveaway. Just leave a comment on any of my videos this week that includes the word support, and you'll be entered into a chance to win a 4,000 dust code. The reason that I say to include the word support, that way I can differentiate between the people just leaving a comment and those that are actually interested in the dust, to make sure that it goes to a person that will appreciate it. And there's no limit to how many times you can enter. You can go back and comment on some of my previous videos. I've been uploading daily Storybook Brawl videos for the past 7 or 8 months at this point, so I'm sure there is some sweet content that you have yet to see. And yeah, you can enter multiple times. I will do a new code next week. And the other thing that I wanted to say is that if a bunch of people enter, I will give away more codes. So that's just going to be limited by how many people are entering and how many people are commenting. Let's get this channel to over 1,000. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.